The Cinema Rex fire was a devastating arson attack that unfolded in Abadan, Iran, on August 19, 1978, during the tumultuous final months of the Pahlavi dynasty. The fire, which claimed the lives of hundreds, was a pivotal moment in the Iranian Revolution, accelerating the movement that would ultimately depose Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi 6 months later. The fire's inception, immediate aftermath, and enduring political repercussions serve as poignant reminders of the profound societal and political upheaval that characterized revolutionary Iran, evoking a deep empathy for the lives lost and the suffering endured. During the years before the revolution, Iran under the Shah had become more divided. The country quickly became more modern, and its economy grew thanks to oil profits, but the benefits weren't shared equally, which led to profound social divisions. The Shah's regime, characterized by its authoritarian rule and notorious secret police, Savak, suppressed political dissent and perpetuated social inequality. At the same time, the Shah's pro-Western policies, which were considered a threat to traditional and religious values, further alienated large segments of the population. By 1978, many groups were working against the regime, such as secular nationalists, Marxist groups, and most importantly, the Islamist movement led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, who was living in exile. This unstable mix of political unrest and social unrest made it possible for protesters and state forces to get violent with each other, creating a palpable sense of tension and instability. That terrible August night, The Deer, an emotionally charged Iranian movie that subtly criticized the Shah's regime's treatment of people with low incomes, was showing at the Cinema Rex. The theater was full of moviegoers when the attackers struck. It was in the oil-rich city of Abadan, which is close to the border with Iraq. Witnesses said that some people locked the emergency exits deliberately before pouring accelerants into the building and setting them on fire. The fire spread rapidly, trapping many people inside the building that was on fire. Scared people couldn't get out because the fire used all the oxygen and filled the auditorium with toxic smoke. Iran will never forget the horrific scene that unfolded, with people trapped inside, screaming, burning, and dying. There was a lot of chaos and confusion after the fire. The firefighters got there too late to save most of the people who were hurt, and the extreme heat made it very difficult to help them. According to official reports, 377 people died, but many believe the actual death toll was much higher, possibly exceeding 470. The nation was shocked by how horrific the tragedy was, and questions about who was responsible immediately arose. In 1978, when politics were very heated, different stories emerged almost immediately. At first, the Shah's government thought the attack was done by religious extremists, pointing to past Islamist rhetoric that used movies as symbols of Western decadence. But revolutionary groups said that the regime had set the fire to make the opposition look bad and give an excuse for more repression. Within days, 4 people were arrested and admitted to starting the fire. These men, who were called religious extremists who didn't like Western culture, said they had done what they did on their own. However, many viewed their confessions with significant skepticism. Many people in Iran thought that the accused had been tortured into confessing or were working for someone else. People were even more skeptical because the investigation wasn't open and honest. At the same time, the funerals for the dead turned into massive anti-Shah protests, with people chanting revolutionary slogans and calling for the end of the monarchy. The emotional impact of the fire and the public's view that the government was not handling the crisis well considerably diminished the Shah's regime's remaining legitimacy. The fire at the Cinema Rex had profound and far-reaching political effects. Revolutionary groups used the tragedy as a potent propaganda tool to expose the cruelty and ineffectiveness of the Pahlavi regime. The fire was the last proof that the monarchy had to go for ordinary Iranians who were already unhappy with the Shah's government. In the following months, protests worsened, strikes shut down the economy, and the Shah's power rapidly declined. In January 1979, Iran's king left, and Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile to set up a new Islamic republic. Events like the Cinema Rex fire significantly influenced the revolution's success, demonstrating the regime's vulnerability and galvanizing people to fight back. The Cinema Rex fire left a legacy beyond the number of people who died or their part in the revolution. The tragedy demonstrates how political violence can alter the narrative of history and the direction of mass movements. The event shows how symbolic events can solidify opposition and speed revolutionary change. The fire is still a painful and contentious historical event in modern-day Iran, with different groups in the country remembering it in various ways.